Didn't take too long. Not a big deal. Yeah, you totally just missed it. Sorry, Kerbal Space Academy is totally over. Actually, I'm just getting started. That was the stream hiccup. Welcome to Kerbal Space Academy. Tonight I am going to be doing lander design and piloting. I did a moon mission one earlier, but it was the entire moon mission. What I'm going to be working on tonight is designing a lander. I've got a cutesy little lander here. Yeah, you like that? Get kind of a Stewie freeze face there or something. So that's what I'm going to be doing this evening. I'm going to be doing lander design and piloting. We're going to be making some landers, little small landers, just like a probe class lander, to talk about some of the basic concepts of it. Then we'll make like a one-man easy lander. Then we'll make a more complex lander that has both a lander and then kind of a return stage, an ascent stage that separates from the lander, kind of the Apollo program style with the Eagle and the ascent module and the Eagle lander and that sort of stuff. So that's the plan for this evening. I am going to go ahead. Oh man, when I lean forward it screws me up. That's okay. I'm going to go ahead. I've got a couple things new tonight. I actually got set up with the Twitterings, and I can do a thing. Wait, how do I do the thing? I should totally do the thing. I can type a thing, and it'll post the Twitter thing over there. I am planning, I didn't do it tonight because I have no followers yet. This is the inaugural just crushed a champagne thing over the top of the stream. The Twitter part, I guess. But what I'm planning on doing is before I stream every night, I will tweet what I'm doing about 15 minutes advance with what we're going to be going over and the time it's going to start. Then I may do another tweet right when we get started. I don't know. We'll see how that goes. I don't want to spam tweets. But if you want to be notified whenever I go live with the Kerbal Space Academy session, you can totally follow me on the Twitter. I think that link works. Why did the link not even come up? I don't even know. Who knows? Maybe it's because it's like a certain amount of lag in between or something. Let me try it again. Follow. Such a freaking noob. Me. You know something? Copy. All this freaking high technology. Paste. Do it the old Mark 1 copy paste. We'll see what happened with the bot there. I don't know. Is it still in the channel? Yeah. Oh no, it's gone. Why is Nightbot gone? That's probably part of the problem. The fact that Nightbot has left the channel. Anyways, we're going to get going on the lander design here. We are not going to screw around too much with it. Oh. They just restarted Nightbot on a server level, apparently. So, that's the problem. Ay. Just my luck. I get Nightbot set up, and then oh, here, now it's back. Thanks, Nightbot, for joining us after you freaking ditched my channel. And I'm all like, check out my new Twitters. And you're like, freaking playing the cricket noise for me. That's lame. Let's design some landers. What's up, GP34? I am in Eastern Standard Time. East Coast, United States, North Carolina. So, lander design. That's what we're doing tonight. Yeah, right? Nice of you to show back up. Exactly. Let us begin to actually play some Kerbal Space Program. Revert flight. Yes, to vehicle assembly. So, if you're just joining us, making sure there's nothing for me to get caught up on chat. There we go. If you're just joining us, welcome to Kerbal Space Academy. We're going to be doing lander design. I have a couple different landers I'm going to be going through. This is one of the more complex ones. We're going to be working on some less complex ones first to go over some of the basic principles of lander design. And then we're going to move up in complexity. Hopefully I get 3 landers done tonight. One that's just the basic probe with like a thermometer on it. One that's like a manned land and come back up sort of deal. And then one that is a multi-stage lander like this where you've got a landing stage that goes down and then a smaller stage that returns, kind of like the Apollo-style mission for the landing module and the Eagle. So that's what I'm going to be doing this evening. Let's go ahead and get started. I am going to call this one Toast because we're going to make it again from scratch. Goodbye. And we're just going to begin with a little simple probe lander. Let me grab one of these Hexo probe cores here. When you design the lander, the most important part is the landing part. There's 2 types of landers you can have. You can either have, well, there's actually more than that. There's 2 types of landers which live through the encounter. There is a powered descent lander, and there is a parachute-enabled lander. It all depends on where you're going to go. If you are going to a place like Lathe or Kerbin or Eve, you can really get away with a parachute-enabled lander Duna, if your lander is really, really, really light, you can get away with it. The atmosphere on Duna is really, really thin, so your mileage may vary with the chutes on Duna. It all depends on how big you're trying to make that craft. The other one, the powered descent, that basically means instead of parachutes on your lander, you put an engine and you fly it down. You'll use the engine to slow down, maintain your velocity as you come down, kill your horizontal velocity, and actually come down to a nice touchdown on whatever surface you're coming to. The second most important thing, after deciding what sort of lander you have, is to look at the impact resistance of the parts that you will be landing on. And there's a couple different things you can do there. We've got these really cool animated parts. I'm going to grab these little micro landing struts. But every part in KSP has a crash tolerance. It's like an impact tolerance, right? You can see on this that the... stick for me, there we go. That the impact tolerance of this part is 10 meters per second. That basically means if I'm coming down out of the sky and I hit the surface of the planet going 10 meters per second or less, this part won't break. Usually. Most of the time. It means you're pretty safe, right? Other landing parts, like you can see this one has 12 meters per second. That one there has 12 meters per second. All these landing legs have 10 to 12 meters per second impact resistance. You can actually look at, like, say, a fuel tank. And let's look at a little fuel tank. See, this fuel tank's crash tolerance, impact resistance is only 6 meters per second. So you basically get double the impact resistance from using those landing legs as you do from using this fuel tank. The trick is, the landing legs aren't the parts that have the most impact resistance in the game. Check out some of the structural components like this I-beam Pocket Edition. That sucker there, 80 meters per second. That's a lot of freaking impact resistance. These plates, 80 meters per second. You could use these parts. What are these? That's 80 meters per second. You could make a lander that landed on that instead of using the little landing gear. Especially if you're going for a power or an unpowered descent, a parachute descent on Duna, you could make a little lander like this, put a parachute on it, and because instead of 12 meters per second, you'd be working with 80 meters per second of crash tolerance, as long as that parachute could slow you down to less than 80 meters per second before you hit the surface of Duna, you'd be good with a wacky looking lander like this. Really, the legs, they're cool. They give you kind of that interactive feature where you can actually extend the legs. So you're up in space, you're like, I'm coming in for landing, gear check, that sort of stuff. The legs have a nice animation. They come down from it. Let's see here. Are they also lighter? This weighs 0.05 versus those beams we were looking at. That's 0.08. That's a lot more. How much do these weigh? 1.25. So some of the beams also look like they weigh more. That was 0.25, so that was definitely heavier. What do these weigh? 0.75. So you can see that the structural parts that have the higher impact tolerance do have a little bit more weight with them. So that may be something to consider. If you use those higher impact resistant parts, you will have a little bit heavier craft. Let's do it both ways and see how it looks. I'm going to start by using these little micro landing struts. And we'll make this guy a powered lander, which basically means that it's going to look like... Geez, actually this guy will be pretty difficult to make a power lander. We're going to make this guy a parachute lander. I'll start with the parachute lander. Like I said, welcome to Kerbal Space Academy, where the scripts are made up on the fly, but the rocket science is real. Name the reference. And let's do a little thingy here. What else do we need on the lander? We need some battery juices. A lot of this is just stock design, right? That is 8 meters per second. The probe core is... How much is that probe core meters per second? 12 meters per second. So here's an interesting point. I'm going to use the gear, right? But in the case that I don't want to use the gear, how could I do this? The way you stack your lander up, you can actually use to make the lander a little bit safer. Check this out. Remember we were talking about the impact resistance of the parts. Those little batteries I just chose have a crash tolerance of 8 meters per second, right? The probe core that I'm using, the hex, I think, yeah, that's the hex, has 12 meters per second. So here's something you could decide on. If the lander's coming down, do I want the probe core to hit first, since it has a higher impact tolerance, so we could take 12 meters per second and then save those batteries? Or do I want the batteries to hit first, even though they have a lower crash tolerance? Maybe if something went wrong, it hit the fan, this thing came in for a crash, maybe it would break one or two of these parts, but still save the probe core. So the order that you stack your parts up, it may be a fuel tank. It may be that a fuel tank's on the very bottom. Maybe you want to put a battery underneath the fuel tank as kind of a last-ditch ablative landing gear, where if everything else fails and you hit that hard, maybe it'll just break off that bottom piece. Your mileage may vary on that. That's just something to think about when you're putting it together. I don't recommend designing the lander in such a way that you would have to worry about ablating parts off the bottom of it. So I'm just going to go ahead and put the batteries down there. Let me put some of these little struts on it. There we go. That's probably a lot. Then let's put a little science experiment. Actually, since I'm using the hex symmetry, I should use 3x symmetry. So that's 3x symmetry. Now you can see I have one landing gear on each face, then I have 3 other faces ready to mount some science parts and stuff. So on one side, I'm going to, put a little thermometer thingy, thermometron. On the other side, I'll put a seismic accelerator. And on the third side, I will put a communicatron antenna like that. Outstanding. Didn't say the first lander was going to be complex, but this is a lander. Let me shoot it up. We'll just show how it goes whenever we're talking about a lander that has an unpowered descent, where we're actually relying on the chute. I'm going to toss together a really quick rocket. We're not going to go far, and we're not going to spend a lot of time on this lander. So if you're just tuning in and you think this is the lamest lander ever, I don't disagree with you. Bear with me. I just wanted to show a couple of the more basic concepts. There's that. Why don't we use a solid booster, just because. The Kerbal God smiles on a good solid booster. I like it. Let's launch it. So this guy here is just going to be the chute lander. Super simple. It's a simple probe. You could use this to gather science from the surface. You could have a science ship orbiting up above. Say you go to Duna, but you're not prepared to land on Duna. You could have one of these little guys in there. I'm not sure if this guy would work on Duna, but you could have one of these little guys in there, and you could shoot him down to the surface of the planet, and then have him go down land, do some science, whatever. Plus, this will fulfill a lot of the Duna science contracts where you have to explore the surface of Duna. You don't actually have to drive around and explore. You could just use this guy. Let's see here. Save it. Let's launch it right quick. We all know what's going to happen here. I could do a gravioli. I'm just tossing it together really quick. The focus I want to be on the landers, not on the science. I really need to do a better job of that, because a lot of the times I'll say like, oh yeah, well check this out. We're going to go and do orbital transfers. Then I spend like half the episode building a lander for Duna. That didn't make any sense. So I'm really trying to focus on what these things do. Anyways, 3, 2, 1, launch. Excellent. I don't even think. Oh, let's not go east. Let's not go west. Let's go north, because there's land to the north. Oh no, actually, let's go this way. Just lean it kind of the northwest there. Not doing much of anything. The reference is Das Valdez. Does somebody keep those? Somebody should keep like a Das Valdez like quote book or something. That doesn't look right. No. I want to go this way. Look at that. Sonic boom! And then Hadouken, apparently. Let's get rid of our little lander. Check me out, ma. What's my freaking Apo? Am I going to land on land? Oh, yeah. Looks like I'm going to land on land. I think I missed the water. Watch, just because I said that, I'm going to land directly in the water. It looks like I'm good, based on the motion of this. Excellent. Let me do a getting started roll call here, just to see who's here. Probably a bunch of regulars, I betcha. Icebox, Nightbot, you don't count. B-Kimp, BS, welcome back. I remember your name, Chainsaw. I definitely remember you, Jesus, me, Sitherly, Claude Henry, Smoot, Danthus, Ikebon. Wow, a bunch of regulars. Find any key. Is that like press any key? GP34, Hag is here, Harry's here, Bob's here, Lost Wushu. I see you a lot, but I've never seen you say anything, Lost Wushu. Don't be scared of me. Maniac Man came early. P-Eater P. Is that how you want me to pronounce that? P-Eater P? Was Peter P taken? On Twitch? Or is this your super secret alt? Kerbal 27 Tonster. Hey, those are 2 new guys. Kerbal 27 Tonster, welcome to Kerbal Space Program. Talking about lander design this evening. And then Washproof. Washproof. I've seen a Wash name before, but I don't know if it was Wash You or Wash Something or Wash Your Armpits or something. But if you're new, welcome. Again, for everybody who's new and for the people who aren't new, do I have enough battery for this? Yeah, I'm good. For the people who aren't new, remember, this is Kerbal Space Academy. The entire point of me doing these streams is to be able to demonstrate things in Kerbal Space Program. We go over a specific topic. Tonight we're doing landers, both the design and piloting of them. If you have a question, I'm live. I'm here right now. I'll read the chat. I answer it over here. Yup is not a valid answer. It gives me no context. But don't hesitate to ask questions over in the chat. If I do something too fast, if I'm going to crash this lander because I'm not actually looking at it, I'm talking to the camera, if you want to know something, if you have a question that's related, ask it. If you have a question that's not related, ask it. If it's a quick answer, I'll always get it right here in the stream. I may be able to demonstrate it with the parts actually on the screen. If it's a longer answer, I may point you over to the schedule or the saved videos or tell you on Thursday we'll be covering that. But don't hesitate to ask questions. That's the entire point of this entire Kerbal Space Academy experiment. So, back to what? Back to this lander. I'm going to go ahead and pop the chute. There was the chute going out. Again, this is an unpowered lander. Let's go ahead and put our landing legs down. To put the landing legs down, you press G. You don't just press it once, you press it twice. There was some reason for that. I was reading on the forums and somebody said, oh, it's because X. And I was like, that doesn't make any sense. Why would you have to press it twice? But apparently the intentional pressing of the G key twice before the gears start to come out is an intentional feature, I guess. I don't know. I'd have to hear from Squad themselves on that. I'm not sure. I don't really understand that feature. But if you press gear once and your gear don't start going down, don't fret. Just press G again. They should go down. You'll be good. So, important. Wait a second. What just happened? What did I just miss? Hectic is Rectic. Oh, Hectic with the raid. I totally missed it. Hectic. I hope you danced your way straight out of Dance of the Necromancer. And I appreciate you coming back over here. No, Hectic's freaking awesome. Hectic's not small. I watch Hectic. I totally watch Hectic. So, dude, I appreciate the raid. We're just getting started with the lander design piloting Kerbal Space Academy tonight. And I was just explaining, if you got questions, ask them. What is my altitude? I do not know. Let's look at some important things while I float softly down to the purpose here. This is a parachute. It slows down your craft. It's attached up here. And one important thing, you can kind of see how we're hanging from the parachute. Check this out. I can rotate the craft, because I've got torque in that command pod, right? Or in the probe core. I can rotate the craft. I've got SAS off, note. But when I stop the rotation, the craft actually hangs from the parachute. What's happening is the parachute has an attachment point to the rest of the craft, and it compares that parachute's attachment point with the center of mass of the craft. And the parachute will actually try to put itself above the center of mass. So my center of mass is down here in the rover. The attachment point for the parachute is up here, and it's not going to rove anywhere, by the way. Actually, I guess I could get it to rove. But the center of the parachute attachment point is up here, and that lander is actually hanging from it. So as I try to come in like this, as soon as I let go of that torque from the command pod, it hangs from that chute again. If you run into trouble where your lander's coming in crooked, I have a couple designs that rely on landing on their belly to survive the landing, my big automated fueling drones. If your lander's coming in crooked, it may be a problem of chute balance. Unfortunately, there's not a way to do chute balance yet. I think it would be awesome if RCS Build Aid or something like that would have a chute option where it would actually show you how you would hang from the chutes, but you just kind of have to guess test and revise when you do the hanging from the chutes. Another thing, you can see my shadow there. This is not actual altitude. This is not surface altitude. This is altitude above sea level. It's the, what is it? The, not anomaly. What's it called? Mean altitude or something like that. This is not zero, yet I am touching the ground. What the heck? That's a problem, especially if you say, wow, I'm coming in for a landing, I still have 1,000 meters. If the terrain altitude where you are above sea level is 999 meters, it'll say 1,000 meters, you'll only be 1 meter off the ground. That's not a lot of time to get your landing set. So an important thing to recognize here is that the thing that you see up here is not actually the altitude above the ground. I'll show you when I get to the manned lander how you can fix it. Engineer's going to help us, and IVA mode will help us there. Anything else about this lander? You can see we've landed it here. We've got plenty of clearance on the struts. Anything else? Not really. Pretty straightforward. Yeah, I build the hugest ships. I totally build the hugest ships in KSP. Welcome to my epic build stream. That was a quick thing on landers. I'm going to read the chat right quick. If you had any questions, type them in. We're going to sit here at this lander while I look at the chat, and then we're going to go back over to the man lander so we can get this going. Oh, sweet. Check it out. Nightbot totally just like did the automated survey thing. You don't have to take the survey right now. If you want to right-click and open that in a new window, I made up a survey on Google Docs. You can fill out. It doesn't ask for any personal information or anything like that. I don't care about your email address. It just has some different KSA sessions that I've been thinking about. Just trying to figure out what people are interested in, kind of where they think they are with KSP, whether or not they actually own it. And then there's some questions on what time you'd be able to watch, because I'd like to schedule maybe multiple sessions across the day to hit different time zones. I know it is difficult when I start at 8 o'clock for people over across the pond to tune in. So maybe an earlier stream and a later stream with 2 different topics a day would be in effect. So anyways, mean sea level. Is mean sea level? It's something like that. Let me see what else there is. I missed a lot of chat. Lignoba came in. What's up? Hectic died a lot. I think you were doing like the monk or something, weren't you? That game looks so freaking cool, that Dance of the Necromancer. And I like the fact that it like goes to the beat of the music. Let's see here. Danthus is here, learning so much about parachutes. I'm sorry. Hectic is rectic. That was part of the raid, it looks like. Dude, Tonster with the follow there. Thanks for the follow, Tonster. I think I should put it on the screen there too. Hectic is an idiot. I don't get it. Apparently zebra stripes. I still don't get it. Turn SAS on. Bob, I think you were referring to if I turned SAS on, it would help me stay to the side. That is a possibility. In fact, I recommend you turn SAS off whenever you're coming in for that landing so that your craft can hang from it and you get straight as opposed to landing at an angle. Another trick you can use is if you know you're coming in on a slope, you can try to lean yourself to align with the slope and then engage SAS. And if your pod has enough torque, even though you're hanging from the chutes, you could still align with that slope and come down and hit that slope flat instead of hitting it and starting to roll down the hill. Let's see here. Less aerodynamic but work. I think he's talking about the stripes that are less aerodynamic. There's this thingy. What time is it where I am? 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. No idea what's going on. Me neither, but I'm on the camera, so I'm just faking it till I make it. Mander. How on Kerbal do I get to Duna? Oh, Hectic. I will do a stream on how to get to Duna. That'll be our interplanetary session. It'll be later this week. I'm going to get a schedule set up. I'm going to start tweeting to people, that sort of stuff. But I do a session... I do a session on... on the thingy with the landing and the going interplanetary to Duna and that sort of stuff. So, totally threw myself off there. We will get you there with plenty of fuel. Crypt of the... What did I call it? Dance of the Necromancer? Is that what I called it? Crypt of the Necro Dancer. Oh my gosh. Yes. Hag totally made it to Duna, by the way. I did the stream on interplanetary transfers. Hag kind of followed along in his own window while I was building the ship and stuff, and the next day he comes in, he's like, dude, I totally went to Duna and I made it back, which I thought was totally cool. I'm not going to read the chat anymore because apparently I streamed some stuff. Oh boy. So anyways, I saw a lot of chat stuff. Didn't see any questions on this little lander. There's not really a lot to ask about, although there are a lot of concepts going on. I'm not even going to bother with this stuff. We're going to go ahead and revert the flight. We're going to send it back to the vehicle assembly. Let's look at a manned powered lander next. That sounds like fun. Oh, and a couple of people. Who's the MB guy I didn't catch? Imbienchik. Welcome, Imbienchik. The stream time preferences should be checkboxes. Did I screw something up? Oh, Bob, that is an excellent freaking point. I will do that. I was mature. I am undoing my raid. It's too late. They've got us in some sort of beam. It looks like a tractor beam. No takebacks, Hectic. No takebacks. Let's make a man lander. This is the shoot lander. Easy peasy. Lander cheesy. Not really. I mean, this would be a perfectly good shoot lander. Let's make a new ship. It's going to be powered. Excellent. That is an excellent freaking point. Thank you for pointing that out. I need to make a note of that somewhere. Where's my graph paper? My composition book. I wonder if we just green screen that totally out. No, well, nobody needs pens. I guess I don't have a pen anywhere. I'm sitting at a computer. Why don't I just type it in? Made a rainbow, no takebacks. Completed the survey, which I appreciate. Yeah, that was a good point. I will make that change on the next version of Lander. Survey. Not Lander. Man Lander. So here's a couple different things about landers, right? You've got a lot of different pods to choose from. And remember the first thing I talked about, the impact resistance, the crash tolerance of the pod. Different pods have different crash tolerances. Oh, Declaration showed up. Dude, what's up, Declarations? Welcome to Kerbal Space Academy. We're doing lander design and piloting tonight. We just did an unmanned chute-assisted lander. Now we're going to go on to an actual manned-powered lander. And we're talking about the crash tolerance of the different pods. All the different pods in the game have different crash tolerances. You can see here with the Mark 1 lander can, it's got a crash tolerance of 8 meters per second. The Mark 1 command pod has a crash tolerance of 14 meters per second. This one here is 8. The cupola, that's not really a lander, but that's 8. This one here, 45. That's some pretty good crash tolerance for a pod. And then we've already talked about the probe cores that I think across the board have 12. Looks like the bigger ones have 9. The small ones have 12, the bigger ones have 9. Ooh, that Probodyne cube is 30. So that's something to keep in mind what pod you're selecting. For our manned pod, what should we choose? Let's make it a 2-man, or a bigger lander, I guess. No, let's go with a small lander first. We'll do a small lander, then with the bigger, more complex one, we'll do a larger lander. Here we've got the Mark 1 lander can. That's got a mass of 0.6 with a crash tolerance of 8. Carries 1 Kerbal. Alright. Here's a mass of 0.84 with a crash tolerance of 14. That's not bad. You can kind of think about, what am I going to do here? The command pod is really good for returning people to Kerbin when you're just going to be recovering them afterwards, and you don't have to take back off because A, it's got the higher crash tolerance, which means you need less chutes to land with. B, if you're doing a return to Kerbin with a pod, you may not have a lot of other parts attached to it, right? You may not have other stuff that you need to save because you're not actually trying to land, you're just trying to splash down in the ocean or something and recover it. Whereas this one, even though it's got less crash tolerance, the other parts, the fuel tanks and stuff that I need to attach to it, are also going to have a low crash tolerance. So even though this guy's got a higher crash tolerance, it's not really going to help me if I'm trying to land on the moon. I'm going to go ahead and choose this Mark 1 lander can because it's got the lower mass, will save just about 0.2 tons, and it's got the lower crash tolerance. That's okay because we're going to have other parts that we also need. So here we've got the little lander. I am not going to make it too terribly difficult. So let us put a fuel tank on it. Just use one of these. Wow, that's not right. I was totally going for this fuel tank right here. A double rainbow. I can't make it a double rainbow. I don't know where rainbow. I don't know where that option is in KSP. That is there. We'll also put. We won't use any of our fancy engines. We're just going to keep this guy simple. I think we're going to need some more fuel though. Well, maybe we'll do it a different way. Here's a liquid engine. Excellent. Okay, I'll take it. Then can I put more fuel in it? Maybe. Let's do a trilateral symmetry lander, because I don't do trilateral symmetry very often. If you've been around and seen me, yep, that way his window has a good view down. I'll take it. That's okay. So this is a basic lander, right? We said we were going to do a powered descent, which means I have an engine that points down. We have fuel to feed that engine, which, as it turns out, is important for engine operation. We've got the pod that has a command and control. Let's look at some basics on this lander, right? Remember our good buddy, Kerbal Engineer. He's going to help us out a lot here. If you don't have Kerbal Engineer, I recommend you use it. There's a link down in my channel description. Go straight to the forum thread where you can grab it. I love Kerbal Engineer. I use it all the freaking time, and I'm going to use it to demonstrate some stuff with this craft. So here's Kerbal. Oh yeah, I got to put it here because of the chat. Here's Kerbal Engineer. It's showing us the different statistics of this craft, right? So you can see that right now I've got a 572 delta V and a 0.9 thrust to weight. 572, that doesn't seem right. Let's go have a look. Aha, we need to put some fuel lines on there because right now it's not actually feeding fuel to the middle like that. Much better, 1283 delta V. That's what I like. I think it needs a mainsail. You know, let's see here. That looks like a serious lander, y'all. 620 delta V. Lot better thrust to weight. The engine will only burn for 4.2 seconds. Mainsail, a lot of weight, a lot of thrust. Not a great choice for landing on the moon. What I'm looking at here, I've got this thrust to weight of 0.9. I've got this delta V at 1283. Those are two critical things for designing the lander, right? The delta V is telling me Do I have enough fuel to actually perform the landing on the surface of the body? Because remember, we're doing a powered descent. This isn't just, however much fuel I have in the tank will be fine. You have to have enough fuel that the engines continue to run until you touch down and shut them off. It's good to have a little bit extra fuel, even if you're not going to take back off. Even if this is a one-way trip, you're just delivering supplies to a base or something. This isn't a reusable lander. You need enough fuel that you can that you can run the engines long enough to touch down. I'll come back to that. The thrust to weight is also very important. In order to touch down, your thrust to weight needs to be more than 1. Now, remember with Kerbal Engineer, I've got these different bodies. Kerbin, a lot bigger planet, a lot more gravity because of it, so your craft would need more thrust to counteract the gravity of Kerbin. The Moon, smaller body, less gravity, so you would need less thrust. What that means is whenever I click on these different tabs down here, on Kerbin, if I'm trying to take off from Kerbin, my thrust to weight is only 0.9. I could not take off on Kerbin. That is not enough thrust to weight. If it's not over 1, I can't take off, and it'd be really dicey to land. Actually, I couldn't land either. I could. I'd have to burn the fuel out first. We'll come back to that. Because this other thing here in parentheses is the maximum thrust to weight. So if I burned enough fuel out of this craft, the mass would decrease, the thrust to weight would go up, and if I burned enough fuel, I could make a really dicey close call landing. Let's check the Moon. On the Moon, my thrust to weight is 5.42 as opposed to Kerbin 0.9. 5.42, that's a lot greater than 1. So this craft would be really easy to take off of the Moon because the Moon's gravity is so much less. Let's look at Minmus. Thrust to weight on Minmus, 11.25. That's ridiculous. In order to take off or land on Minmus, this craft is so OP. In fact, we could give it an engine that has a lot less thrust, like one of these little suckers. Look at that, 7.2 on Minmus. This engine right there would land the heck out of this craft on Minmus. Let's have a look at a different engine. Where's the engine from Ants? What is this? Engine for Ants? I don't think this is going to work. 0.98. So on Minmus, this craft with just that engine could pull off a landing. As soon as you start burning that fuel, you're going to get right there to 1, and you could land this craft with that engine on Minmus. That's ridiculous. You could especially land it if you took these fuel tanks off. Look at that. That little engine for Ants in the gravity of Minmus gives you freaking 2.81 thrust to weight. So think about that. You want a craft that's really easy? If I wanted to take this thing to Minmus and land it like this, I could do it, and this would be a really light payload for whatever else the rest of the craft is going to Minmus. You don't always have to have the hugest lander in order to accomplish a mission. Let's see here. Let's remove the engine for Ants. I think maybe we will, weren't put on with symmetry. Hey, thanks, good catch there. They're about to be. I'll tell you what. Now they should be put on with symmetry. Yes, that looks good. Cool, thanks for the help there. I appreciate, I screw stuff up. I talk a lot. I'm trying to get concepts across. Sometimes I miss things on the screen, and so I totally appreciate it when people like Declaration help me out and type stuff over in the chat. I do try to, what is this, a space program for ants? Oh, and welcome K Golf Guy. I totally appreciate it when people type stuff like that over in the chat because I could use the help. Like I say, I do this live. This isn't scripted. I'm making it up as I go. I don't even know. This looks like a good lander. Where should we land it? Either the Moon or Minimus. We could go for the Moon. Let's do it. We'll go for a Moon landing here. And hey, look, and there's the Twitter thingy. So I totally also set up the Twitters, and there's the little automated Nightbot thing that's going to annoy you by telling you to come and check out my Twitters. So we've got this guy here. We've got fuel. We've checked the thrust to weight, right? We put a Kerbal Engineer module on him. We clicked on the non-compact mode, which brings it out like that. And I was able to click on Moon, which told me what the thrust to weight on the Moon was and what the delta V. Oh, wow. Cooter Baggins. That's freaking awesome. That's an awesome. And Tummy Gun 69. Cooter Baggins is a freaking awesome name. Oh, jeez. It's like Dukes of Hazzard and The Hobbit, which is freaking awesome. Let's see here. What else do we have? Do we have enough Delta V? Yes, we have freaking tons of Delta V on this craft. Why so much Delta V? Because of this, I guess? Yeah, that is a lot of thrust to weight and a lot of Delta V. Let's see what it is in vacuum. Did I just crash? Oh no, does this thing have the same Kerbin? Oh, that's why. Because there's no atmosphere on the Moon. So that's an interesting thing. Check it out on Kerbin as I go between atmosphere and not atmosphere. That's actually looking at the atmosphere of Kerbal itself. When I click on the moon has no atmosphere, so the moon's atmosphere versus the vacuum of space is the same since it doesn't have that atmosphere. Now, I know I was confused for a second, but we've got freaking buku delta V in this thing. In fact, we could land it and take it back off. What else do we need on our lander? We need the landing legs like I talked about. Let's go grab some. Now, remember I talked about the different crash impact, the impact tolerances. This landing strut has a crash tolerance of 12 meters per second. So this right here is totally a valid lander design. It's got that trilateral symmetry. Apparently I can't put it on straight. Let's put it on straight. There we go. Excellent. So now I've got some struts on it. What can I do with the landing struts or the landing legs? The important thing is that you want the landing legs to be low enough on the craft that they actually protect the rest of your craft. I do not want, you can kind of use the horizon here, that's what I do. I do not want the engine to be sticking down below the bottom of the landing legs like this, right? What's the point? We're not going to get the 12 meter per second crash tolerance of the landing legs. We're going to get the 7 meter per second crash tolerance of the engine. That's totally lame. We don't want that. So what you do is you grab your landing legs and you can move them up and down and just see how I was using the horizon there. There's the horizon. I just kind of set it so that the ship was straight, and then I set it so that the landing legs are below the thing, below the engine nozzle there. Now, a thing to remember is that these are actually also shock absorbers, so when you land on the body, they will compress a little bit. So it's usually good to have them a little bit lower than you think, because when they compress, they'll absorb some of that shock, allegedly. I'm not sure if it actually models that. But they'll absorb some of that shock, and that engine still won't be sitting on the ground, which is important. We don't want that engine to hit, because if we go down and we're going to land and take this puppy back off, not having an engine would put a serious kink in our plans. What else do we need? Wow, did I just get a bunch of follow again? Oh yeah, we got to put a couple followers there. Nice. I think I already got them. Some new people too. There was Tommy Guns. So, what else do we need on our lander? We've talked about landing it. We've talked about thrust to weight. We've talked about delta V. Let's get a little bit more into delta V, right? Everybody knows that I like to use the KSP subway chart, which I've got right here in my images. Let's do show image list. Show me the subway map. Show me the image. So I've done a couple sessions on the KSP delta V subway chart. And how do I do it? Go away, image list. There we go. This is my... Oh, wow. Apparently I need to make a smaller version because I changed my resolution a little bit. Oops. Anyways, the subway chart shows the different delta V's needed to move from one place to another in KSP. For example, I'm going to be looking at the low moon orbit, which I apologize. There we go. Not quite off the bottom of the screen. And I've grabbed the lander. Let's say that I'm in low moon orbit right here, and I want to go down to the surface of the moon. I can look at this delta V chart, and it'll tell me that 640 meters per second of delta V is required to both break my orbit. Rendezvous with destiny. Thanks for the follow. I need 640 meters per second of delta V to both break out of that low moon orbit, which it says is 14 kilometers, and perform the powered landing on the moon. 640 is kind of a best case scenario. That's what you can do it with if you're a really good pilot. I would put a lot more than 640 on this lander. So what I wanted to do was when I come over here, let's hide it. There we go. When I came over here, if I didn't have at least 640 here, and I would rather have 700 or 800, depending on your landing skill, you may carry 2,000, right? But I would rather have a lot more delta V than that 640 so that I could do the landing. If I'm planning on landing and taking back off again, I need to look at that subway chart. So for the moon, it was 640. For the moon, it was 640. Grabbing that lander still. Oh, grabbing parts off that lander, apparently. Jeez, I hate the click-through. I would need to have 640 to come down from moon orbit and another 640 to get back in moon orbit. That'd be a total of 1280. So my lander would need to have at least 1280. That's how you use the subway chart here. Sitting at, well, not so much now. Even this. Look at this. I just said I needed, what, 1280, so call it 1500 with some margin. This lander right here, we could slap some legs on it. This puppy would land on the moon. It's got the thrust to weight. It's got way too much thrust to weight. It's got the delta V. You could go up and down from the moon on this if we slap some landing legs on it. I was going to press Control Z so that I undo the messing it up. Yeah, they're definitely ideal numbers. Declaration said over there. What is dock screen? Is that Is that the link to the thing? Did you just post it up there for me? Drawings, yes. Thank you. Excellent. Well, that looks like a different version, though. I'm going to open a new window. I'll check it out after the stream. Thanks, Bob. I appreciate it. So, this one here with 3432 meters per second, what didn't happen? I thought we had 4,000 before. Did something change? Let me look right quick. No, they're all tanked up. Well, oh, yeah, we're on Kerbal. Actually, that's going to be on the moon. This craft with 4462 meters per second of delta V, this is going to be a good craft to land with. I would recommend building a craft like this if you're trying to practice your landings. Build a craft that has buku delta V, just like this. We only need 1240 in best case scenario with a really good pilot. 4262 is a lot of delta V to do the landing. That gives you a lot of room for error, right? If it's your first landing, if you're trying to practice landings, if you're trying to practice the different piloting maneuvers and that sort of stuff, using this much delta V or having this much delta V in your lander is a good thing because it'll give you a lot of leeway as you're learning the maneuvers. If you don't do something quite right, it's going to give you a lot of leeway to recover from your mistakes. In addition, the thrust to weight is very good for somebody who's not an experienced lander pilot. Having a higher thrust to weight means that the craft will be able to react more quickly. If you're coming in at the moon at like 300 meters per second, having a 5.2 thrust to weight, you'll be able to burn out that 300 meters per second really quickly, as opposed to something that has a 1.0 thrust to weight. Could you land it? Yes. Would it take a lot longer to actually burn through 100 meters per second of delta V? Yes, it would. So a higher thrust to weight and a higher delta V than you need is really good if you're getting to know lander piloting. I would definitely recommend way overbuilding it so that you're in the simulator, you're flying around, you're learning the maneuvers, and your craft doesn't crash just because you didn't put enough delta V in it. So, let's see what else we got. Check the chat, see if there's any questions. I appreciate it. Hectic. All right, good deal. Bob, thanks for giving Hectic the link there. That's freaking awesome. By the way, I have found a solution for the rep. I found a way to do the rep in the channel, and I found a way to actually let you build up rep, not just for watching, but answering questions and that sort of stuff. I'm going to be implementing that in the next couple days. And people that help out in the chat, that post links like that and that sort of stuff, that answer questions for people, are going to be getting rep for it, basically. And maybe we'll have something where you can spend it on swag or spend it so that my phone turns off and doesn't ring while I'm on stream. Thanks, Mom. I already talked to her right before I got on the stream. I don't have to answer that one. Don't tell her, though. So anyways, I'm going to be figuring out, I've got a solution for it. It's going to take a couple days to set up, but I think it'll be really cool, and I really appreciate people helping out in the chat over there. Let me read. Hey, shock absorbers, bounce on the moon, slid on the moon. Peter P, yes, we need a battery. Kraken likes to have fun and not just blow things up. Yeah. Delta V map, ideal numbers. Yes, declarations was definitely correct. Those are really good pilot numbers. If you're not a really good pilot, if you're a beginner pilot or something like that, double those numbers if you want to. Triple them. That's all good. Let's see here. Hosted me. Oh, whoa, wow, nice. It went by and I'll say it once more. Dude, Hectic, thanks for the host. I think I saw that before and I didn't say something because I'm a totally rude jackwad, apparently. I appreciate the host, man. Thanks a lot. Good pilot, 10%. Yeah. Give yourself extra. Yeah. Link Strife, I will give you rep just because you show up so much. In fact, it'll automatically do that, I think. So, if there's not any specific questions on this lander, let's go ahead and finish it and get it to the moon so we can practice some of those piloting maneuvers. This is the man lander. The Mander. We're going to pilot it out to the moon. We'll go through a couple different landings on the moon. I'll show you a couple different ways to do your landings. Some are easier than others, but we'll go through a couple different things. What else do we need? Peter P said that we needed some battery power. That is an outstanding observation. Dude, K9, what's going on? It totally says, you were mentioned in the channel. And then I know to look at the chat as soon as you put it over there. Welcome. We're doing lander design and piloting tonight in Kerbal Space Academy. Let's just do this number. We'll put 3 of those down there like that. I like it. What else? Should we take some science experiments? We could put a goo on here, I guess. We could totally do a roof-mounted science junior, maybe. Watch this as I do this, right? I want to actually accomplish something. As I put more pieces on, it's going to actually reduce the delta V and the thrust to weight. So if you design a lander and then you go back and start slapping your science experiments and that sort of stuff on, make sure you keep watching that delta V. See how that goes from 4462? I put that Science Junior on and it goes to 4190 with a 5.0 thrust to weight. If my margins were a lot less, adding parts like this after I looked at them may change it. You should really check them at the very end to make sure that you're good to go. Since this is about lander design and piloting, I'm not going to worry about taking any science experiments, but just keep in mind when you add parts, it's going to add mass, it's going to lower your thrust to weight and your delta V. What else is important? Yes. We need to be able to, once we land, get out of the craft, go jack around on the surface, dig up some rocks, like get some moon rocks to grill our endangered species over or whatever. That means we're going to have to get down from the lander. Right now, there's not really a way to get down. There's a couple solutions for that. One of them is if you're on a body that has a low enough gravity, just use the Kerbal's jetpack. You can hit R to turn on his jetpack. You can fly him up here. You don't have to worry about putting ladders on here. You'll save a little bit of mass doing that. If you want the ladder for the look, you can actually go over here and get a ladder and put a ladder on the craft. Same sort of thing we did with the landing legs, right? When we put the ladder on the craft in 1x symmetry, come on now, there we go, in 1x symmetry, like that, you can actually right-click on the ladder in the VAB and do extend a ladder. There you can see that the ladder extends to the ground. You may run into some landers that are a lot bigger than this, and where you mount the ladder may not actually reach the ground. Keep in mind, if you do a lander that's bigger, to make sure you go back and ensure that your Kerbals can actually reach the ladder standing on the ground. If you land on a heavier body, like I think you could still probably jetpack it on Duna, but if you land on a heavier body like freaking Tylo or something like that, and you can't jetpack up off the surface, you may be stranded there after you jump down to get your science experiments. Another cool thing you can do with the ladders is click on them. Remember my trick with holding down Shift and doing incremental parts? I'm just holding down Shift and tapping S. You can see how that angles the ladder out. Remember, that's also going to make the ladder reach a little bit less towards the ground. It'll make the ladder a little bit shorter since it's using some of its length to go out. But that ladder right there will work. It looks fine. It actually looks dumb, I think, and I'm going to make it go a little bit more like that. Last point on the ladders, it doesn't matter if they clip through the ground. You won't land on the ladder and then have the ladder flip your craft over. This doesn't have a collision mesh on it, so it will not flip your craft over. Even if I had it like way down here, that wouldn't do anything. That would just clip through the ground, and this would basically be ignored. So you don't have to worry about it if your lander sticks out a little bit too long. That's that. We're good to go on that. We got the ladder. Power generation. We will definitely do power generation. Power generation, yes. That is an excellent point, which DK just beat me to the punch over there. He was saying that the LV909, this liquid fuel engine, doesn't have an alternator on it. Some of the liquid fuel engines, actually some of the engines in the game will generate electricity when they're turned on. And this one specifically does not. Check it out. If I point at the LVT45, you can see that the electric charge right here, or actually right here, alternator, output at full power, electric charge 6.0 per second. That means that when you're running the engine, it'll be charging your batteries and powering your electric systems. However, when you land on the surface and you turn that engine off, you'll be running out of your battery reserves, so keep that in mind. The LV909 that I'm using, this one here, check it out, it doesn't have an alternator on it, like DK pointed out. The LV909 not having an alternator means that this craft right now would have to have enough battery juice to go all the way from Kerbal all the way to the moon and get back. That's a bit of a problem, so what he was saying was that we need some sort of power generation on here. I will do it in the form of the RTG, and I will mount it. Where will I mount it? I will actually put it right back. No, not there. I'll put it on top like this. There we go. Kind of put it in the center sort of deal. There we go. Dude, email OP. Emilio PE maybe. 19. Thanks for the follow and welcome to Kerbal Space Academy. Feel free to ask questions. Type them in the chat. I answer questions. That's the entire point of this. If I talk about something too fast, let me know. I like to answer questions. Anything else we need? We've got power generation. We could also do some little solar panels. We'll just slap them on there for fun. Nah, let's not worry about that. Focus DOS. Just do what the stream is about. Let us put some landing lights on it. Landing lights can be really important, especially if you end up planning your landing at a nighttime. If you're coming down and you can't actually see the surface, remember when I talked about the sea level versus the terrain height? How when I landed it was 894? That's what the thing said. If it's nighttime and you don't have lights and you have no way to see the surface of the planet and that gauge is inaccurate, you'll have no clue when you're coming up to the surface. Putting a couple lights on the bottom of your craft is really helpful. You only really need one. I usually go with two, and here's why. This light is a very broad kind of working light. It'll light up a very wide area, but it only has a short throw. It'll only light it up when you're very close to the ground. This light, the Illuminator Mark 1, is a very... I'll actually put them over here. The Illuminator Mark 1 has a very tight beam, but it goes for a very long distance. This is very, very useful for spotting the ground way in advance. When I put that Illuminator Mark 2 on there, that we can actually see. We'll see how high we are when that beam hits the surface. But I definitely recommend at least putting one of these pointing down like I did there, so that when I'm landing I can turn those puppies on and they'll light up the surface just in case I can't see it. I'll put that one there. I'm trying to leave this area kind of clear because he'll be able to see out this window. And what else? Did I miss anything else on the lander? The purpose of this lander will be go to the moon and back. I'm not going to put chutes on it. I've got power generation. I'm not worried about solar panels. I've got that. I'm not going to dock with anything. We're just talking about landing. So, let's make it super easy to figure out where our dorsal side is. I am going to put one more battery guy on here. Where are you at, my battery? I like to do this. I'm going to put a battery right freaking here. And that is so that I know which side is dorsal. Dorsal, top part, think of Shark Week. I always say that. Knowing which side of the craft was facing this way, the way the VAV is facing right now, that's crazy important when you're coming in for a landing. When we get over there, I will show you why that's crazy important. Let's see here. Anything else? Did I miss anything? I don't think I missed anything. Let me get caught up here. No, wait, DK, dude, you're not stepping on toes. I appreciate the help, man. Just type away in chat anything that you want to, you type over there. I didn't actually think about the thing about the alternator. That's a huge point, so keep typing away, man. I think in the future I'll actually get you on a freaking TeamSpeak with me or something, so you can talk too. Let's see here. No one will go. Okay, that was me. Codster parachute. The purpose of this lander is just to go to the moon, which has no atmosphere, so the chute's not going to help us. If the purpose was Lathe or Eve or something like that, we would totally go with the chutes. Let's see here. iOS, no. Mobile, no. What's up, Traincom? Traincom came in while I was talking. Door faces dorsal. Yes, Bob, the door does face dorsal. I also like to put the little, I like to put the light on there just as an extra check. Plus, you can see that light really easily at night. So I like to put those lights on there. The little battery light thingy. What else? Bobcam is here too. Dude, Bobcam, welcome. We're doing lander design and piloting tonight, and we just finished designing this lander to get us to the moon. Did I miss anything else? I'm going to say I didn't miss anything else. Ah, yes. Excellent. My center of mass. Ah, that's another good point. Let me hit that as well, and then we will get on the launch. DK just made a point about the center of mass. The center of mass is important. You want... If anybody was here for rovers yesterday, I did a whole long conversation on the rover center of mass versus the width of the wheelbase. If the wheelbase was really small and the center of mass was high, the rover wasn't stable. It would topple over very easily, right? Whereas when I made the rover that was really wide and the center of mass was really low, that allowed me to have a much more stable rover. The same is true with these landers. This one's good. I was kind of designing it to be good. But this is a very stable lander because the center mass is right here, and look at that nice wide base we have. We've got that tripod effect going on, as opposed to a lander that may look like this. If you've got a lander that looks like this, it may be a problem. Let's do something with the same amount of fuel. Those little tanks are, what, 90? 90 times 4 is 360, so this is going to have the same amount of fuel. Let's put this thing on it. This is basically going to be a lander with the same delta V and the same thrust to weight, but just a lot worse design. And we will toss this landing leg on there. There you go. We'll do 3x symmetry because that's what we did. Just check that out. Delta V, basically the same. Thrust to weight, basically the same. But look at the center of mass compared to the thrust, or compared to the wheelbase, the lander base we have here. See how high that is? And see how skinny that lander is? This lander here is a lot better. I'm trying to get up above them. See how it's got such a wide base versus this one, and its center of mass was nice and low to the ground. the two landers have the same exact stats. This one has a teeny tiny bit higher part count. This lander would be a real bear to land, especially if you were on a slope. It would want to tip over because it's not squat to the ground. It's not built like a fire plug, right? As opposed to this one, which would be a really, really stable lander because it's got that wide wheelbase and that low center mass. I mean, just look at it as I change it. Look where that is. The ground would be down there. The center mass would be way up there versus this design where the ground is right here and the center mass is right above it. It's a huge difference, and all you really save with this one is one part. They're going to cost about the same. Roughly. This one will probably cost a little bit more because you have the fuel lines and stuff. But this lander, hard to land. The lander that we designed, easy to land because it's got that wide wheelbase. Again, DK with a freaking save. That's freaking awesome. We will get you set up as a COCOM. Oh, an algae! Dude, welcome! How's it going? I haven't seen you in a couple days. I didn't put science on it because I'm focusing on lander design and piloting right now. We could totally do the science. I will throw a thermometer on there in your favor or in your honor because I haven't seen you in a couple days. But I'm trying to learn to focus on my topic, and so I will just put that one thermometer because everybody likes to know what the temperature is. So let's do a check here. We've got main thrust, we've got fuel, our fuel lines are attached correctly, we've got command and control, we've got Kerbal engineer on there, we've got battery storage, we've got power generation, we've got our landing gear, we don't need chutes, we've got a place for the Kerbal can crawl down to the ground using the ladder. Did I miss anything else? Speak now or stop freaking making fun of me. Let's see here. Oh, and Luis is here too. Dude, what's up, Luis Paliotto? I saw you on they tweeted you. That freaking chair thing you did? That chair thing with the little cube thing, or however you pronounce that, that was awesome with the polka music playing. That was totally awesome that they tweeted you and featured you like that, Luis. Let's see here. Anything Android instead? Yeah, that doesn't have anything to do with it. Girder segments, the wider your base. Yeah, we totally did the girder segments on the thing with the wheels, the rover segment last night. But you can use the girder bases to spread out those gears. And remember, the first thing we did, this right here is also a valid lander. It's a little bit heavier, but it will work. Times 3. Angle those things down. This is the poor man's landing gear. But I tell you what, that lander is perfectly valid if you want to do it that way. It weighs a little bit more. Check the delta V because these beams are heavier than that. But remember, these beams, impact resistance, crash tolerance of 80 meters per second versus our landing gear, which is only 12. So, do you want to make a lander this way? I actually don't know where it is in the tech tree. I'm not sure if you would unlock these parts before you actually unlock the landing gear themselves. But you could totally design a lander this way, and I wouldn't make fun of you. This is a valid design. I mean, heck, this is a valid design. I've actually done this before on like a habitat module sort of thing. That there, I'd want a little bit more clearance from the engine, but that is also a valid design. You don't have to use the landing legs if you don't want to. Since I like the animation, I'm going to use the landing legs tonight. Did I break anything? No. Let's go ahead and lower it down just a little bit. Okay. I'll take it. Did I miss anything else? I'm going to look at the chat. That's your last chance to tell me that I screwed something up. Not getting the new iPhone. No, sorry. Dude! Gotta show it off. That's my phone. This is my old school Nokia bar phone. This is still what I use. I totally got the Google Maps on it. I totally got the Google abilities on it. I said that when I was going to break it, when I finally broke that thing, I was going to get a new phone. Unfortunately, it's a Nokia bar phone. It will not break. It has ridden 80 miles on the back bumper of my truck, and it did not fall off. I don't think this thing's going anywheres. Did I miss anything else? Can you have on Friday just mess around? Happy Killer, I just mess around just about every night, man. We do Kerbal Space Academy at 8 o'clock, and then after we finish up the Academy, we do a free play time, and we totally just screw around. Launched Megamaid's broom last night. Oh! Also, Earthworm Slim, dude, welcome. Thanks for joining us. We're doing lander design and piloting tonight. So, Earthworm, I actually chose this topic because I was watching you fly earlier, and I was like, wow, I need to do a thing on landers. So I'm doing a thing on landers tonight. I was on your stream earlier. Let's see. I think we've got everything. Nobody told us. And Zogs. A lot of freaking regulars coming in. That's so awesome. Thanks, everybody, for joining. I think we're good to go. DK thinks we're good to go. I'm going to copy-paste that, and if I'm not good to land, totally going to say DK said I could do it. So let's call this the Moonlander. The wide wheelbase Moonlander. Good enough. Wheelbase? Footbase? Whatever. Let's save it. Now, we need to get it to the moon. I'm going to do this really quickly. I'm not going to talk through it too much. If I were producing these things in advance, I would already have the lifter done. I don't have the lifter done. I'm going to toss it together super fast. I will say what I'm doing, so maybe you can learn something about lifter design, but I don't want to spend too much time on this. Let's make a lifter. We will make it like that. I think I'm going to do a lifter / transfer vehicle. Let me use my little part that I like, which is structural, and looks like this upside down thingy. There's that. I will do with this. I wonder if I should use a poodle. We'll put this guy on here. Let me slap a poodle on and see what sort of thrust to weight and delta V I get. Where you at, my poodle? There we go. And let's go ahead and go back to Kerbal, non-atmosphere stats. 24, 29 meters per second of delta V. Just doing that. Then we take the lander off. Excellent. Oh, in fact, why don't we... No. Focus, DOS. Focus. Don't put docking ports there. You could put docking ports there, but you're not doing a session on docking ports. So that's 24, 29 delta V. This stage right here will definitely get us on the Mooner transfer. It's what? What did our subway map say? Mooner transfer is 860 plus 210 to transfer out to the moon. So that's a total of 1070. 1070, we definitely have 1070 there. I could almost use it as an orbital insertion stage as well if I put a little bit more fuel on it. So let's do that. Kicker stage. It's going to be a kicker / transfer stage. Hang out with me long enough and you'll know what that means. 1.04. Not great for a kicker stage, but I think I can get it done as long as I make this other thing bigger. And 3120 on the delta V. Excellent. Let me make the lifter now. Where you at, lifter? Actually, I don't like that. No. I don't like that delta V for a kicker stage. I'm going to do a separate kicker stage using a thingy. That one engine that I use in the kicker stage is called the skipper. Let's toss some fuel on this puppy. Fuel on this puppy. Where is my skipper? There's my skipper. Excellent. That's what I like to see. 2.25 on the kicker stage there. Then I could... Yeah, no, I don't need to. All right. We will also grab this and then make the lifter. I will definitely check the chat. I see some stuff going on over there. I will check the chat when I finish the lifter. I know some people had to go and I don't want to miss you. Let's see here. There's that. We're going to do the trick like that. Can I just do it with a mainsail? Everybody loves a mainsail. Mainsail says 2.0 on the launch pad. That is a total of 3405, but I need to do atmosphere, so that's 29995. Used car stats there. And 2.0 on the launch pad, so we'll give it the mainsail a little bit more. I do a session. I frequently do sessions on lifter design. I will be planning on frequently doing sessions, I should say. So I know I'm talking through this pretty quickly, but I'm trying to get her done here. There we go, 3396. Not great. Not great at all. I could make it to orbit by using part of this. Nope, I don't think I can. I could put more in that kicker stage, but then I need some thrusters. We'll just use a bigger engine. Everybody loves a mainsail, but we will use one of these puppies and see how we do. Where's that new thing? 2000 thrust. 1.62 on the launch pad, 3870. That'll do ya. Look at that rocket. That is a freaking tall rocket. 162 on the launch pad. Yeah, we're good to go. 1.62, 2.25, 1.32. All those numbers in my professional experience are good to go. I better put one of these in here on my kicker just so we have some semblance of control. That's an advanced SAS module. There we go. Let's put some launch clamps on it. We're not T-minus 60 seconds from a launch here. 3x symmetry. Really tall rocket. 1.53 on launch. All those stats look good. Thank you, Kerbal Engineer. Let me strut this guy in, and we are going to be good to go. So, over here. Up here. Down like that. Strut it in. I'll take it. Anything else? This probably won't retract now. Oh, apparently it bugged out. That's pretty good right there. Let's see here. Happy Killer. Happy Killer was the one taking off. Dude, Happy Killer. Go to school tomorrow. Stay in school. Don't do drugs. Whatever. But thanks for hanging out. And we totally do a free play on Friday, so if you catch me after the Friday session, the Kerbal Space Academy, about 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, we'll be doing a free play session. I don't know what we're going to be doing. We'll make it up as we fly. Let's see if I missed anything else here. That's where that was. Watched a good suicide burn. If I have time at the end, we'll go for a suicide burn. Like, yes, I have a phone, Earthworm. You don't need a phone, man. You got the internet. You totally have the internet. Shoots. Gene Kerman. We're just doing landing on the moon, lander control, or lander design and piloting, so I'm not planning on returning to Kerbin as part of the session. If you want to return, shoots are definitely something to think about. Slim, just launch, please, says Dan. I will definitely get you launched here shortly, Dan. Make a Kuna lander. I don't even know what that word is. Duna. Yeah, Duna is not a big deal to land on. We can totally make a Duna lander. In fact, wait a second. I'll do it for you because you asked, and I like to have people involved. Here's our lander. Let's check out its thrust to weight on Duna. 2.89 with 4145 meters per second on Duna. That's atmospheric stats. Let's check our subway chart. On Duna, we need 1380 to get down. So with 4145, the same exact lander design here. Who was it that asked? Where'd you say? Who asked for Duna? Kuna. Zogs. Zogs, the same exact lander design could be used to land and take off on Duna. You could put a couple chutes on it just to help you slow down. You wouldn't need to, though. This guy with the 2.89 thrust to weight, 4145 delta V, you could use this guy right here to land on the moon, land on Minimus, land on Duna. We actually go through the list of places that this single lander design could land. But this, here you go, made you a Duna lander. Such a smart ass. Did I miss anything else? Any other questions? There was that host from Earthworm Slim. Dude, Earthworm Slim, thank you. I appreciate it. You hosted me last night. You hosted me again tonight. That's freaking awesome. I totally appreciate it. There's the shoots. There's the survey link again. Delta V. Plan to rush. Yep, Override. Hey, welcome back, Override. I recognize your name. Shoots, we're just going to the moon. Shoots would be good if you were coming back home. Space tape. What version? 2.4.2. DK's got my back. Subway map. There's the subway map from Bob. This is so freaking awesome because I don't even know you people really, except for I've been streaming for a week and a half, and people are like helping up in the chat and like posting links and answering questions. That's freaking awesome. That's freaking awesome. Dan, you can totally go to the bathroom, but you're the one jonesing for a launch, and that's what we're about to do. Let's save the wide wheelbase moon lander. We are good to go. Look at that. That craft, 10,000 delta V. In atmosphere, but on Duna, that's why. Not as impressive anymore. Let's launch this puppy, y'all. Check the staging last thing here. There's that thingy. Then we're going to separate, and we're going to do that thingy. Then we're going to separate and do that thingy. Come on now. That thingy, that thingy. I'm just going to assume they're all correct. That is a recipe for disaster in this game, because it's never correct. Oh my god. Call the Weather Channel, see if hell has frozen over. It looks like it staged it correctly. Save. Launch. Give me 2 seconds. I'm thirsty. While the scene loads. Everybody knows where I went. I don't even have to say where I went, because if I don't, you got a Kerbal protest going on. Yeah, I know, my green screen, I totally hosed it earlier, and I'm definitely gonna have to improve the green screenage. Either my hat's gonna be full of stars, or my green screen costs $4 at Walmart. And that's why it's not exactly the most professional thing. We're gonna get it better though. We're definitely gonna get it better. Jebediah Kerman, excellent person to take with us for the piloting. Ew, carrying some monoprop we don't need. Whatever, not gonna worry about it now. What I just said, in the lander, the command pods actually carry monopropellant. See, I saw it up here. We're not using monopropellant. We're not docking, not using RCS, that sort of stuff. So it's just extra weight right now. I'm not gonna worry about it. So, typical launch profile, that 1.6 on the launch pad thrust to weight means that I throttle all the way up because I want to launch at 1.7, so I'm a teeny tiny tad bit low. Throttle up, SAS on, panel lock, engineer engaged. Let's go to space, y'all. This launch is brought to you by Dr. Pepper. Dang it, I need to look up more interesting facts on Dr. Pepper. Wait. Who told me yesterday? Delicious Dr. Pepper? Only 7 people know all 23 flavors of Dr. Pepper. That's what I think K9 told me yesterday or something. Yes. So, our first checkpoint on the launch, typical launch profile at 5,000 feet. We want to be going straight up at 160 meters per second. I would do that even if I wasn't on the stream because Dr. Pepper's delicious. Don't give me this Pepsi BS either. So at 5,000 feet above sea level, we want to be going about 160 meters per second. Since I was 1.6 on the launch pad, I'm going to be going right around there. There's 5,000. There's 160 meters per second. That's a good rocket design. Only one person knows that fact. Let's see here. Next checkpoint is 10,000 feet. We want to be going about 260. Dude, Dan, thanks for the follow. That's awesome. Welcome to Kerbal Space Academy. Welcome, cadet. I need to come up with something to say whenever people follow. There's 10,000 feet. We're going to start our gravity turn at 10,000 feet. That just means that we lean to the right, pressing the D key there by default because we've got dorsal side pointing at us. I'm going to go ahead and lean to the right. This right here is 45 degrees on the nav ball, the circle that's kind of halfway between the horizon and the top. High noon on the nav ball. I'm going to try to remember. Dude, Valen76, welcome, cadet. I don't know. I got to come up with something. Thank you for enrolling in Kerbal Space Academy. All right, continuing on with the launch there. Now we're increasing until our apoapse gets to 50. When it gets to 50, I'm going to turn and burn. I'm going to lay down and try to put a lot into orbital velocity as opposed to going higher. Here we go. We're doing good, and I'm going to increase the apoapse on this puppy until it is 85. I'm going to increase the apoapse on this puppy until my main stage dies. There we go. That's what I meant. Now I'm going to go to 85. 85. Turn and burn, baby. There we go. 83, 84, 85, and stop. And stop. I'll take it. I'll take it. Now, next thing, let's go plan our node. I press M on the keyboard. I go up to here. I press this button. Right here at the apoapse, I add a maneuver. Dude, Riv Anderson, I guess. Thanks for the follow and welcome, Space Cadet. Somebody's got to tell me what works with that. Put the node on the apoapse, increase prograde until I get a periapse, then watch for the flip. You'll see what I mean. There's the flip starting, 85 and 74. Here's the flip starting. When the apoapse and the periapse switch places, see the apoapse is going around that way, the periapse is coming this way, that means you're just about circular. I'll take it. That's good enough. It ain't perfect. Again, standard insertion procedures. This is a 52-second burn. We half our burns so that we bracketed half of the burn on either side for accuracy's sake. 52 seconds, half of 50 is 25, plus 1 is 26. Add a second for engine spool up because it does take the engine about a second to spool from 0 throttle to full throttle. Don't tell NASA. Real engines don't work that way. But we're going to start this burn at 27 seconds because half of 52 is 26. Add a second for spool up, 27 seconds. So when this gets to node in T minus 27 right here, I'm going to kick this burn on. We need to do 1089 meters per second, and we've got 988 in this stage. That means that we're going to be about, oh, actually that is nigh on perfect, y'all. Look at this. This is going to be a perfect. I just missed I missed my thing. I was too impressed. When this ends, when this stage ends, I'm going to have about 100 meters per second left. What that means is that this stage is going to fall back to Kerbin. It's not going to be in orbit yet, while our main stage, our transfer stage, is going to use just a little bit of throttle, just a little bit of delta V to complete the orbit. That's freaking fantastic because our kicker stage here is not going to cause space junk that we'll have to duck and dodge next time we go to orbit. Not that you really have to do that because Kessler does not happen in Kerbal Space Program. Dude, 44 Warlord, welcome to Kerbal Space Academy. Let me do this burn. I'm like welcoming people and doing a burn. There that kicked out. Check it out. I'll show you. We're not orbital yet. When I ditch that stage, that kicker stage is going to go back to Kerbal, which I'm cool with. Here's our poodle. We're going to do the rest of the burn. And when we finish this burn, we are going to have a circular orbit. Ta-da! Eeks! What is that? 90 by 84? Whatevs. Good enough. We're in orbit. Now we can plan our transfer to the moon. First things first. Let's do a inclination correction. Set the moon as the target. By the way, since I'm focusing on lander design, I am talking a little bit quickly through some of these things. When I talk about fixing the inclination, when I run through the checkpoints on the launch, the standard launch profile, I do specific Kerbal Space Academy sessions on those topics where we go into detail on what the ascension is and what the orbital inclination, how the launch profile goes, how to do the transfer. I know I'm talking a little past there. If you're interested in those topics, join us for the Lunar Mission Kerbal Space Academy, the Getting to Orbit Kerbal Space Academy. That's why I'm blowing by them a little bit fast, because I want to get to the moon and I want to land this sucker for you. How are we doing on time? 9:28. Been going for about an hour. So let's adjust this inclination. Put it right there. That's an ascending node. That means we're going to burn anti-normal. That's the purple downward arrow. Again, watch for the flip. Anti-normal is going to switch directions with, there we go, descending node and ascending node I meant. Now they're 0.0. That means that we're flat with the moon. Our planes, our orbital planes are coplanar. They're flat with each other. And I'm going to have a little bit of a burn here. Oh man, I should have totally put that probe core on here. Whatever. 4-second burn in 12 minutes, 13 seconds. Let's find, oops, there it is up there. I would be burning to the south because that was an anti-normal burn. So pointing straight on down here like this. And stop. There we go. Now I'm going to go ahead and fast forward while I check the chat. Actually, I'm going to Kerbal alarm clock my fast forward while I check the chat. I love you, Kerbal alarm clock. There we go. So let's check the chat. That way I won't pass this node. What do I got? T-N? Yeah. All right. Dr. Pepper facts that I didn't read all of. Civil War veterans. That's cool. Dr. Pepper, totally amazing. Have you ever had Dublin Dr. Pepper? So Dublin, Dr. Pepper was the original bottling location. Dublin Dr. Pepper, instead of, I doubt you can see it, high fructose corn syrup, Dublin Dr. Pepper is made with actual cane sugar. It's freaking delicious. It's hard to get anywhere except North Texas, but Dublin Dr. Pepper, I'm all about. Let's see here. Dr. Thunder. That stuff tastes like rubbing alcohol. I'm embarrassed. I'm going to make that a banned word in my channel, Dr. Thunder. Welcome to the Academy. I like that declaration. Welcome to the Academy. That's cool. Interesting facts about Dr. Pepper. Oh my gosh, I'm not bringing that up. Why don't you work for NASA? Maybe I should have. I was originally going to do aerospace engineering and maybe go work for NASA or Lockheed or something like that. I was all about it when I was a kid. All my science fairs were aerospace related. And then the dot-com boom happened, and I went off and did technology stuff, and the rest is history. Welcome, Rocket Man. Too old to be cadet. Nice. You can always be a cadet, and plus we spell cadet with a K. Dude, Mars showed up. Welcome, Mars. I think I caught you. Let's do an IVA. I'll indulge you that. How am I on my time? 3 minutes. Oh, I can't do an IVA. I'll do the burn from IVA or something. Any so yeah. Cybertech. Did I just miss somebody? Listen to Cybertech. Oh, Bob, don't get on my case for that. I've been spending so much time getting set up with the stream and that sort of stuff. I have not gone through what I would need to do to translate my save file. Got some green screen static behind me tonight. I'm just gonna go with it. I totally screwed it up. Mr. Pibb. Ooh, Mr. Pibb makes me cough if I drink too much of it. All right. There's our maneuver node. Thank you, Kerbal Alarm Clock. Let me check the chat while we fast forward just a little bit. 4-second burn. 2 seconds is half of that. Burning to the south. Check it out. We'll do the burn from IVA. Somebody asked me that. Look at that. Where's our node? We can look at our nav ball up here. I don't do a lot of burns from IVA, I tell you what. What's the time? Can I not see the time to the node? I can't see the node in IVA. Apparently I don't do a lot of flying IVA because the node is not in here. Alright, we'll do it from outside since apparently we can only see that there. Then we'll do the transfer or something in IVA. There's 8576543. That's the time to spool up. Let's do that delta V change. Getting our orbit flat with the moon. I'll take it. Let's plan a mooner transfer. Quick guide to mooner transfers. Find the moon. Step 1. There you are. Set the moon as target. Step 2. Step 3. Put the moon right like that. Do you see how I have it just over the horizon of Kerbin? It's as if the moon is rising. Step 4. Put you a node. Oh, don't you do that to me, Kerbal. There you go. Put you a node just before that moon rises. So see how with that node the moon will just be rising? Step 5. Add prograde. Step 6. Profit with an encounter at the moon. Actually, we just are going to hit the moon if we do that. That's no bueno. Oh, I put too much delta V in it. Right there. Look at that. Not only do we have the mooner encounter, if I change the burn time, I could get a free return trajectory. I'm not worried about that, though. If you thought going to the moon was hard, look at how easy that was. It's all about when you start that burn. I do Kerbal Space Academies on... That's an interesting node. I do Kerbal Space Academies on mooner transfers. You are welcome to join me. I do not know what's going on with that node. I've never seen it do that before. That's a little weird. A little bitty wacky... Probably need to change the burn time just a little bit. Let's not worry about it. I'm talking too much. What we need is just a mooner encounter. Doesn't matter if we're retrograde. There we go. I'll take it. What's our periaps? 52. We'll execute this burn. We're coming in around from the other... we're coming around from the other side here. We're going to be going into a retrograde orbit around the moon. I don't really care. Not going to worry about it. Not going to worry about it. Oh, dude. KSP TV. I mean, that would be cool, guys. It all depends on how that goes. There's a lot of things to consider when you get into stuff like that. I mean, I have so much fun just doing it like this. And KSP TV would be a lot more exposure. First, Dunaflax flight. Naka Flocka Flame. First Duna flight. I've actually got a saved video where we did an interplanetary mission to Duna. And it totally depends on what you're trying to accomplish. Let me find this node, and then while I'm fast forward, I'll talk about it a bit. The most important thing is to get your transfer good. Wait till the launch window opens. Are you using Alex Moon's interplanetary transfer calculator, launch window planner? I would definitely recommend using that thing because that's going to make your flight to Duna a lot more enjoyable and cost a lot less delta V. And we totally have a saved version. If you click on my name up in the channel title where it says Das Valdez playing Kerbal Space Program, if you click on my name, it'll go to my profile. If you go to my profile, it'll show you my videos. If you look at my videos, there will be one that says Kerbal Space Academy Interplanetary Transfer, and that will be a mission to Duna with all of the things you need to know in order to get out to Duna, including how to use the transfer calculator. So, let me fast forward up to this node. I don't mean to glaze over that too much, but I wanted to answer your question and give you some more information while I continue my lander design and pilot session here. We got a minute 4 burn. Half of a minute 4 is 32, plus 1 is 33 seconds. So we're going to start burning at T minus 33. Look at old Jeb there. T minus 33, 37, 35, 34, 33. Engines light. To the moon we go. Using that transfer stage. Naka Flocka. I absolutely recommend that you look down at my must-have mobs. My must-have mods. And at the very least, get Kerbal Engineer. Kerbal Engineer allows you to see the amount of delta V in one of your crafts. That's basically how much you can change where you're going, and that dictates how far you can go. At the very, very least, run Kerbal Engineer. It's really simple to use. I do sessions on Kerbal Engineer if you want more information about it, but designing ships in KSP, I don't even know if I could do it without Kerbal Engineer. It's such a freaking awesome tool. Everything else, I mean, I like RCS Build Aid, I like Kerbal Alarm Clock, all that. If you only install one mod, make it Kerbal Engineer, because it lets you learn so much about the game, and it helps you design your rockets. That's why we slapped together that lifter on the fly, right? And we knew exactly what that lifter was going to do. What am I at? Do I got a periaps? Let's see. We knew exactly what that lifter was going to do. Oops, no. I'm going to be hitting the moon. That's no bueno, mister. Need a periaps. We knew what that rocket was going to do long before we even got there. It followed the launch profile to a T, and it's because we did we used Kerbal Engineer to plan that rocket. What else? Naka. Wait, did I say Waka? I thought I said Naka Flocka Flame. Oh no, you said it is. All right, good, good, good. I didn't totally screw anything up. That's freaking excellent. Let's see here. We've got an encounter with the moon. That means that I can fast forward. And I will do an alarm clock for the next time that we have an SOI change, and I will add an alarm. Let's get going. Out to the moon. Check the chat. Dude, Hag, still, man, I almost wish you had recorded your stuff, because that freaking makes me feel good that you followed along with that session we went through, and like the next freaking day you were on Duna. That just makes me feel freaking warm and fuzzy inside or whatever. Welcome. Thanks for the follow, Naka. Kerbal Engineer available on Curse. I've got a link down in my channel description to Kerbal Engineer's forum post. You don't have to have an account to go to the forums. And from there you can see all the outlets that you can get Kerbal Engineer from. You can choose the one you like. I try to get stuff from Kerbal stuff when it's available, just because I like going for the little guy, rooting for the little guy. But there's the Kerbal Engineer on freaking Curse. That's awesome, Bob, dude. You're freaking knocking it out. What you pay? Hey, welcome up, welcome back. What up, Tay? Not what you pay. Did you miss the Space Maiden? Oh, yes. Mega Maid totally went to space last night and was outfitted with her calculator. Her calculator? What? Was outfitted with her thingy that she vacuums with, the Space Hoover. When leaving Moon, is it better to orbit prograde or retrograde? Override function. It's better to take off prograde simply because you get the rotation of the planet in your orbital velocity. It's always better to take off prograde. I will do it for you. I will do it for you after we land here to show you which way. Yeah, there's not even close Earthworm. I don't know what I'm thinking. I'll show you the best way to do it. Basically, you burn on. Well, you burn right here. Can I show it? You burn when you're right here, and you burn out, so you eject this way. It's a prograde burn. You add in that rotational velocity to your orbital velocity. You're also decreasing your velocity relative to Kerbin, and you come on home. I'll do it for you here if we have time at the end here. I'll do it for you anyways. Even if we don't have time, I'll do it as the first part of the free play or whatever to answer that question for you. But it is useful to know whenever you're getting back from the moon. No, it's dude. The moon is on the screen. It's totally not off topic. Not off topic. You play baritone. Can you make some music for you? Sure, dude. I played trumpet for years and years. I still have a trumpet actually right back there. I'll make my own like trumpet fanfare for Kerbal Space Academy. Kerman contradict. Wait, what did I say? What did you say? Retro? Oh no, Bob. What you were saying was that it's better, you want to burn retrograde relative to Kerbin, right? But you want to burn prograde relative to the moon such that you eject yourself retrograde relative to Kerbin. Because to go down in space, to get a lower orbit, you burn retrograde, decrease your orbital velocity. To go up in space, you burn prograde, increase your, orbital velocity. So you're half right. You want to burn retrograde relative to Kerbin. You can use burning prograde relative to the moon to increase your delta V retrograde to Kerbin. So, play the trumpet for the follower sound. Da, da, da. Dude. And Traxxas Lover came in. Traxxas Lover, welcome to Kerbal Space Academy. Don't exit the moons. Yeah, SOI efficiently. I will totally go that. Oh my gosh, the green screen looks terrible this evening. Such a noob, duh. Such a noob. There we go. We don't warp past SOI. Oh, my poor green screen. Man, it's busted. My face has stuff on it. I'm so terrible. There's my SOI change. Here's the moon. Let's plan our node at the moon. Same thing. I'm going to burn right here at the periapse. Actually... no, focus, DOS, focus. Don't show them how to change direction. We'll take off prograde. Traxxas Lover, dude. Welcome to the Academy. Thanks for the follow, man. I'm going to go ahead and burn retrograde here. That is going to make the moon catch me. Catch me, moon, catch me. Apoap's there is 85. I think the parry is 34, so let's just go 35 by 35. And I... 32 by 38. That's good enough. Excelente. Let's find that burn node. It's going to be a 20-second burn. It's going to cost us 352 meters per second of delta V. Goodbye, alarm. Goodbye, alarm clock. How are we doing on this transfer stage so far? Kerbal alarm. 1392. Wow, we had this transfer stage. I mean, this is basically the CM. This is basically the command module from the Apollo-style missions. We've got our little lunar lander here. Not a two-stage lander, just the one. But this is our command module that could stay in orbit above Kerbal. Also above the moon by the associative property of orbits, since the moon orbits Kerbal. And then we're orbiting the moon. Therefore, we're also in orbit around Kerbal, I think. Let's fast forward. Let's get to this landing part of the segment. Too much talking. Nice braces on my teeth. You should see my lighting, man. It's like a freaking desk lamp from Walmart and a piece of fabric from like the sewing section. We are freaking green screen ghetto fabulous up here. I have braces? Let's see here. Get to this burn. It's a 20-second burn. That's a 10-second burn. Ah, screet. Orbital screet. Time warp screet. Hello, moon. That means we're going to do 10 seconds. T minus 10 seconds is going to be the burn to split it in half. There's our altitude flip. Ghetto fab. Hashtag ghetto fab. Chroma key. Dog. Gonna burn it. I'm not conscious of my teeth now. Gonna burn right there. I paid extra for the chromed out grill, Bob. 10-second burn. T minus 11. That's what we're doing. Making comments while we do it. 14, 13, 12, 11. Fire up the engines. Ignition. It's a grizzle. I gotta fix that. I do apologize for that. My lighting is all totally foobar. I need to get more lights because what I'm having a problem doing, I don't have the proper lighting to get a consistent light on the green screen behind me, and so it's really hard to chroma key out because of the inconsistency. So we will totally do it. My nose, apparently I have a nose piercing too, it looks like on the stream. Let's check our orbit. Here we are. 46 by 34. Me. I don't really like that. But I don't care because I'm focusing on doing the landing. Focus. So, here's what we're going to do. Here's Jeb. His lander, jacked up and good to go. Excellent. Also good. Alright, we got some fuel in here, but we don't really need it. I'm not going to worry about it. I told you, on my honor, that this lander had enough to land and take back off again. So I'm not going to try to deorbit this thing. I am going to land and take back off with the entire freaking things. Backlighting off your key light and using a fill should fix it. Do you do like Chroma Key Academy or something? Because I can do Kerbal Space Academy, but I can't tell you the first thing about what the heck it was you were just telling me there. Washproof. Backlighting off my key light and using a fill. I have no clue. I don't even understand the words that are coming out of your mouth. I apologize. So anyways, F5. We're going to do this a couple times. Yeah, that's my brother. I'm popular. They need to get my schedule straight and stop calling me. I love my family dearly. I will communicate with my family later when I'm not doing a live Kerbal Space Academy session. I should just send them the link to this. Tell them if you want to talk to me, get on the freaking stream, dude. Do an extra follower. Landing. Yes, we're doing landing. Did the quick save. I am going to go ahead and decouple the dude. I'll just do it by right-clicking and doing decouple. Now our lander's free and clear. Look at him. He is jacked up and good to go. Let's go and do a landing. So I'm going to aim for the bright side here. We're in a retrograde orbit, meaning we're going backwards around the moon. We're going in this direction instead of this direction. Yeah, instead of this direction. So what I want to do is start my deorbit burn somewhere over here. It doesn't matter if it's a periapse, since I'm in a roughly circular orbit. And I'm just going to pick a landing site. I'll do it super simple. I'm not going to try and show off. I could land in that crater. I could land in that crater. I'm just going to focus on, I'm not trying to show off. I'm just trying to land. So let's go ahead and just deorbit straight along our orbit here. Let me show you what that means. Am I going to hit the lander? No, I am not. The command module is back there, and we're over here. First step to landing, point retrograde. You can see right here I've got my craft on the little green X thing. That means that I'm pointing retrograde. That is going to decrease our orbital velocity. When we decrease our orbital velocity, we cease missing the planet, and we begin to hit the planet, because all we're doing when we're in orbit is falling but continually missing the planet. When we go a little bit slower, we cease missing the planet, and we hit it. So, dude, that's freaking awesome, Watchproof. A light dedicated to the green screen and a light focused on me. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. That totally makes a lot of sense. I appreciate any help I can get. In fact, I will stream free Kerbal Space Academy sessions for you if you give me free advice on how to set up my green screen. So anyways, I'm pointing retrograde. I want to stop missing the planet. I want to start hitting the planet. It just wants to be a very controlled hit. And so I'm going to burn retrograde. Let's watch it from map view and see what happens here. Step 1. Activate your engines. X. Stage. 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 Stage, stage, stage. Engines activated. Silly spacebar. Let us begin our descent burn right here. Now I've got my engines active. I am not even going to set a node. I am just going to show you what happens on the fly here. You don't have to set a node to land. Actually, let's do. All right. We want to stop missing the planet. I'm going to start with the simplest landing. It's least efficient landing, but I will start with the simplest landing. So I am going to come on around until I'm in daylight. And basically, I'm going to land straight down. I'll show you what I mean. I'm orbiting around the planet here. I still want to burn retrograde, but I'm going to burn retrograde a lot. Right now, from here, since it's in orbit mode, you can see that my orbital velocity around the moon is 525 meters per second. 527 meters per second, sorry. What I'm going to do is burn retrograde until that number is just about 0. So check it out. Burning retrograde, that orbital velocity is slowing down. Now I'm hitting the moon. I'm going so slow that I'm not going to miss the moon anymore. But look what I'm going to do. I'm going to keep burning. We got the Delta V to do this. This is the easiest way to land if you're new. It lessens the number of variables you have to deal with at one time, right? It's not the most efficient landing, but it is the easiest landing because you don't have to juggle quite so many orbital balls at once. Continue burning prograde. Look at what happened in this orbit, right? Retrograde. Sorry. Continue burning retrograde. Just keep burning retrograde. Keep lowering that orbit. Point right at that retrograde marker. It's going to move a little bit, but I want this number to be just about 0, and I'll show you why. Any KSP veterans in here, again, I'm explaining this is not the most efficient burn. It's not the most efficient way to land, but it's easier for new people because I'm just killing this orbital velocity. Keep burning, and what I want to do is push that green thing until it's at the top of the thing like that. So what's happened? What did I just do, right? I burned until basically, check out my orbit. I'm falling straight down. That means that the only vector, the only direction that I have to worry about is feathering my throttle to decrease my speed straight down. I don't have to worry about yaw of the craft. I don't have to worry about pitch. I just killed all my freaking orbital velocity, and I'm going to fall straight down to the planet. Whoa, maybe that was cool. Straight down to the planet. Like that, as if you're on the planet. Woohoo! So, you can see that because that green X is right there at the nav ball, that means that we're falling straight down. Now, you'll see that our orbital velocity is increasing. What does that mean? Let's go ahead and click on surface velocity there. There we go. What just happened? See, the orbital is straight down, but the surface is off to the side. I think I meant to burn when it was in surface mode. In any event, we're flying pretty much straight down right now. We're falling to the surface. Actually, either one of those would get you close enough. I need to confirm which one it is, though. No, I think it was orbital. I think I had it right. I do not mean to confuse anybody, but I just thought that maybe I was wrong, and then I thought that maybe I wasn't wrong. Because look at that. When that thing is one thin blue line, that means we're falling straight towards the planet. Yes. All right. Good deal. So we continue to watch the craft here, and see it falling straight down, right? You'll see that the velocity here is increasing. What that means is that the gravity of the planet is acting on us. The moon is actually accelerating us towards the moon. Don't know the gravity of the moon off the top of my head. I could get it from somewhere, I guess, but it's not that important. Basically, the reason that this is inefficient is because I came to a stop at an orbit that was what, like 35,000? Yeah, 35,000 meters above the moon, and now I'm giving the moon all this time to accelerate me, right? The moon is going to make me go faster and faster. It's going to make this go up, and the more this goes up, the more delta V I have to burn out of my tanks to counteract it, such that I land not going 130 meters per second. So that's the reason this is not efficient. However, let's go show why it's super simple. You can see I'm falling straight down. I'm not coming in like a meteor at an angle. I'm not twisting out of control. Even dorsal side on the craft doesn't really matter because I'm going straight down. All vectors lead to the moon at this point. And all I have to do is press G twice to extend my landing gear, and then make it such that when I touch down, this number is less than 12. Because remember, the impact resistance of our landing gear is 12 meters per second. So that's all I have to worry about. Now I'm going to let this thing go way down. Remember, our thrust to weight is freaking excellent, right? You could also do a suicide burn this way, by the way. Our thrust to weight is freaking excellent. Look at that eccentricity. We're falling straight towards the... We are perfectly eccentric. That means that we are not in orbit. We're falling towards the surface of the planet directly. But I am just going to go ahead and let this bleed off until I get... I think I'm going to start to slow down around 10, maybe. Because I've got such high thrust to weight. Remember, I talked about that high thrust to weight is going to give me a very good throttle response. That's really not the right word. A very good rate of change of delta V. So I can kill this orbital velocity off very easily because I've got this really high thrust to weight. So I think at about 10,000, I'm going to lower this down to about 100 and see what happens. Oh, man. Wow, there's a lot of stuff here. Blowing me out a bit. Dude. Also, Hitman, what's going on? How's it going? Welcome. Guys, I will totally get caught up on that lighting thing. I'm totally going to crash into the moon. I need a lemon green bedsheet for the chroma key. I'll get caught up on that. Oh my gosh, I just went way past it. I hope I don't crash. Talk to me here. Don't crash. I may have just crashed the orbiter reading the chat. I'm such a freaking noob. You can do it, baby. You got 4,000 feet. You got less than 4,000 feet. That moon is coming up fast. I was reading the chat. Come on now. Come on now. Who wanted the suicide burn? No! Oh my gosh, I was reading the chat. I'm all like, check me out, I can land. So embarrassing. So embarrassing. Because I'm reading the chat and trying to respond. I totally missed the freaking time that I was supposed to start burning. No, Kerbal Kill's not one. Check it out. Remember, these things are mooner. They're impervious to the moon. Luckily, I did do a quick save. That's what I get for trying to read the chat when I'm landing. Talking about being washed out with the lighting or something, and I really have no freaking clue what's going on. Dag nabbit, Valdezi. All right, I've already talked through this, so I will fast forward this for you. Hey, you dare me to do it in physics warp? Until when I get to the right place. I'll totally do this landing in physics warp to pay penance for my poor orbital skills of a lander. Such a noob. Alright, now I'm off. Now I need to push retrograde. Okay, I totally said I would do it in physics warp. We'll do this faster. That's prograde. That's retrograde. Alright. Wow, I can't even aim. Alright, same story. Let us go straight down. I'm not going to hit the lander, am I? Nope, the service module's right there. Let's burn. I should have totally F5'd right there. I want to do a better landing, which is why I saved back there. Just continuing that burn, continuing that burn, continuing that burn, and push it to the top. Push it. Oh, that's not the top, Valdez. Let's see. There we go. Now we're falling straight down again in physics warp, and there's the moon, and we need it. Wow, I'm even higher this time. I think that DK put an excellent a point in there. I should have had a much lower orbit when I started to do this. I didn't think about it. We have Buku Delta V, so I wasn't worried about it. But DK was right. We should have been in like a 15-kilometer orbit, not a 35, 40-kilometer orbit. That would have given, remember our graph here, that would have given the moon a lot less time to act on us, which would mean that when we came to a standstill in orbit and started to fall straight down, our orbital velocity when we got to the surface would be a lot lower. Perhaps the Kerbal would have lived if we had done that. Now am I back to where I was? All right, good deal. Now I'm back to where I was, so I can not quite turn the time warp off yet. No, I didn't. I knew that I should have done it earlier, but I was reading the chat and I just missed the checkpoint. Here we go. 15 was my checkpoint. I'm going to start burning right now at 15. I'm going to put the gear down. I did the same thing we did last time. I came to a orbital stop, and then I started falling straight down to the planet. Is my eccentricity? Oh, 99. 99.9. Are you out of your mind? There we go. You saw what just happened. You saw that this changed from orbital to surface. That means that now it's doing me relative to the surface. And let's go ahead and let it fall some more. Wow, that was a lot faster. So I burned a little bit too much there. I'm just going to do it safe, and I want you to be able to accomplish this. Again, this is not the most efficient burn. I know there are KSP veterans out there saying, geez, Dos, what are you doing? This is the simplest way so that you could say, dagnabbit, I freaking put a flag on the moon. That is what I am trying to accomplish here. So we're falling straight down. And it looks like we're going to land not in a great place. Flight engineer will actually tell us we're going to be landing on an 18.2 degree slope. Not the best. Not the best. We'll still get it done. Of course, you want to try and pick flat places. A lot of times the center of craters is the flat place to go for. What is my altitude? All right, I'm good. So now I'm just going to follow some rules, right? I'm going 120 meters per second, and I'm at 6,000. When I cross 5,000, I'm going to keep it down to 100. So let's go ahead and slow down here. There we go. I am decreasing my velocity. That moon looks like it's coming up pretty fast, so let's burn a lot faster than that. Just decreasing that velocity. And let's buy us some time here so that I have time to talk to you. That's 20 meters per second. So we're still falling, right? Let's get rid of Kerbal Engineer. We're still falling. Look around, see if you can find your shadow. I don't see it. Let's burn our engine just enough to keep this orbital velocity at like 10. So see what I'm doing? I just throttled up a little bit. I'm burning down slow. All I'm doing is worrying about going straight down. Just keep it right there. That's too much throttle. I need to, nope, slow it down a little bit more, DOS. So I'm pressing control to, there we go. Now I'm falling again. All right. Now see what else is happening. That green dot, the green X, slides off the middle. That means that I start to burn sideways. I just used my pushing green to keep it there. So when it slides off to one side like this, I slide it off the other side like this. Now I'm hitting at 13. That's a bit too much. I need more throttle. Where's my shadow? I need more throttle. I got to hit it less than 12. That's good. Now I need less throttle. I need a little bit less throttle. That looks pretty good as long as we don't start going up again. I'm going way less than 12. And when I touch down, where's my shadow? There's my shadow. When I touch down, oh wow, am I going to touch down? You press X. You cut the engine, and you're landed on the moon. I feel like I kind of had to talk through that quickly. Lights. Good call. I didn't turn them on because I was planning to land on the proper side of the moon. So you may have seen, I kind of felt like I was talking very quickly there. I stopped looking at this, right? I started looking at the ground. There's a couple different things that can help us out there. But this, remember, on Kerbal, we were like at 800 meters and we were on the ground. Here we're at 3687. That means that it's like datum altitude, I think is the term for it. This is 3687 meters above datum altitude. This is actual terrain altitude. So you can't look at this and assume that when it gets to 0, you're going to be hitting the ground. Invariably, on the moon, you're going to crash into the moon before that reads 0. What else did I do? I talked through some things very quickly. Let me talk about that green thing going back and forth, right? So I am going to take back off again. I'm going to take back off again in the same lander just to describe a couple things. So let's take off again. And I'm just going to go straight up and get me some altitude here. Just burning straight up. That's good. I'm going to let her fall back down again, and I'll let you see. Check out this. Remember the green circle-y thingy? That's the direction we're going. This means right now that our craft is pointing in the same direction we're going. We're slowing down, though. We were going straight up away from the moon, but the moon's like, get over here, and like pulling us back down to the moon, right? The gravity of the moon continues every second to act on us and decrease our velocity. At some point, that velocity is going to become 0, and then it's going to start going negative. Not negative on the screen, but you'll start going down towards the moon instead of up away from the moon. Watch this green thing when it happens. See how I've got the green circle? Green circle, I'm going up, I'm going up, I'm going up, and it flips. Now I'm falling down, I'm falling down, I'm falling down. If I'm pointed up like this, my nav ball's blue, and I've got the green X there, that means that my relative velocity is towards the moon. My tail end, right here with my engine on it, is going towards the moon. So I was talking about that green thing getting pointed out. See how it's a little bit off to the side? I didn't burn straight up, and now it's off a little bit to the side. Let's make it worse. Right? Say you're coming in, and all of a sudden your green thing's like off to the side, like, I don't know, like this. What does that mean? That green thing not being straight up, that means that not only am I going down, I'm also moving across the surface of the moon. I need to fix it before we land. So in order to do that, I use my same pushing green tactic. I make a straight line between straight up, that, and my nav, and I burn. That pushes it towards the middle. Now I'm falling straight back down again. Now I need to just make sure that I don't hit at 35. Let's do it again, and throttle it down, throttle it down, throttle it down, throttle it down. Now I'm very slowly decreasing, but I'm still going down. This is a pretty good deal. We're wasting some time because we're hovering on our tail. Every second that we hover, the moon is acting on our gravity. We're spending our fuel to keep off the moon. Here we're going to hit a little bit harder. No big deal. Oh, and I bounced. How do we fix that? Same story. Don't panic. If you know where the dorsal side of your craft is, there's my little green light. Everybody knows where my dorsal side is. I can just cancel out that rotation, or that extra movement. I can burn in, let's say, this direction. Let's cut my throttle. I'm going to start falling down. There's my green X. Burn towards it. Make it go straight up. Look, 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 look. And there we can land again. In fact, if we bounce a little bit, because we've got this wide wheelbase lander, I could just cut the throttle and bounce and land it. Totally not a big deal. Submitted denied. I did not know that. I actually did not know that. Huh. That's pretty cool. Yes, so some people were pointing out some other stuff. I wanted to talk about the green thing. Let me do one more demonstration of the green X just to show what's going on. Look at that flat center of the crater over there. Let's fly towards it. There we go. I'm going to fly towards it. And look at this really bad case scenario here, right? Now, my green thing is way the heck over here. I don't want to hit the moon going this fast. What I need to do is slow that velocity, burn into this direction. Now I'm going straight up. See how I've got the green thing towards the top? That's okay. Don't panic. If that thing is going straight up, eventually what's going to happen? You're going to flip when the moon takes you over and starts to pull you back down. There's the flip happening right there. And then I'm going to get the green X coming back up again. And we can tweak it. We can fix it. Look, burn over here. Draw a straight line. This is high noon. This is my green X. This is my thing. Burn, burn, burn until we make that thing on there like that. Now we're falling straight down again. That's what we want. We're coming down at 20 meters per second. I'm going to go ahead and start killing velocity again. A little bit more. A little bit more than that. Wow. A little bit more than that. And stop. Almost a suicide burn. We were all good there because we hit at less than the impact resistance of our landing gear. So you can see there's a lot of different stuff that you can do. Really, the main thing is don't panic. Know where the dorsal side of your craft is. Don't panic if you bounce. Know when you need to go full throttle. If it looks like you're coming up to the moon too fast, don't hesitate to go full throttle, especially if you've overbuilt the craft. We could do moon landings like this with this craft. Every time we do one of these landings, we're not spending 200 or 300 delta V, right? Because I'm just bouncing up and down. Just don't panic if you've over-designed your craft like that. Better to spend a little bit more fuel and take a little bit more time than it is to burn all your fuel. Let me check the chat. I've done a couple demonstrations here. Let me see if I can do any more demonstrations with this lander before we come up with another way to come out of orbit. Planting flag on the moon. Journey land from a 9,000 meter. Luis, I totally agree with that. Landing 101. Step 1, quick save. Golf guy goes up in a pillar of moon or dust. Jeb survives. He's always fine. We know that these freaking lander cans are impervious to the moon. We had to send a special mission just to dispose of the stupid things that kept living through the crashes. Ah, yes. And just like that, Valdez's dream of a moon landing goes up in a puff of lunar dust. Landed. Landing 101. Step 1, quick save. If I made a checklist, that would probably be a good checklist. Alright, we're all the way back there. Didn't forget, just started burning way too late. That was a litho break, you are correct. Staying single for life. Alright. Good for you, Johnny Boy Adventures. Welcome to Kerbal Space Academy. Girls are totally difficult. Traxxas, you don't like learning out of school. This is totally Kerbal Space Academy. If anything, you can spend your time watching us play games, and then when you go home, say, I was taking a class. I was taking an online class in orbital mechanics. You can totally do that. Luis Piliotto totally brought up a good point. My altitude that I brought that I brought the velocity down from was 35. That was way too high. It gave the moon way too much time to grab a hold of me and accelerate me down. I should have done it from a lot lower altitude. I'm putting a flag on the moon. Dude, Earthworm, you tell me what time. If you're streaming at the same time you were yesterday, I'll come over to your chat, man. I will come to your channel and watch you land that thing on the moon. Flattest place on the moon is above the Neil Armstrong Monument. Lights, yeah, I got that. Applause, I appreciate the applause. I'm back. What did you miss? A moon landing and a moon crash. Wow, me life is so don't even know what that word is. Ah, Luis. Excellent point, Luis. So check it out. Something we were going to talk about. Remember, we're at 3489 right now. What do we have? We've got IVA. In the IVA, I can look at this guy right here. That guy right there. See how that says radar altitude? It says radar altitude, and you can see that the needle's at 0 right now. So even though our main altitude, which is nowhere in the IVA, I guess, even though our main altitude is 3489, if we go into IVA, we can see that the radar altitude is 0. So if you want to, you can do a landing from inside the pod using that radar altitude to see exactly how high you are. I think I'll attempt one of those in a second here. Also the vertical speed. From the vertical speed indicator, you can see how quickly you're going up or down. What else is useful in here? You still have the nav ball up here. You'd have to kind of look at all three of these. The reason you can't really look down at the same time you're doing that. But yeah, the radar altitude will show you the actual altitude above sea level, or above the terrain. In addition, I've got Kerbal Engineer on here. Kerbal Engineer is also our friend, and it has both. It's got the altitude above sea level, 3488, and the altitude terrain, 1.76 meters. That must be how tall our pod is. You could look at Kerbal Engineer in this mode right here and see what the radar altitude is. It also gives you a lot of good readouts on vertical and horizontal speed. Remember I said that you needed to push that green X so that it was pointing at high noon? You could look at this and try to make your horizontal speed 0. If you make your horizontal speed 0, that means that you're falling straight toward the planet. So you got a lot of different things. You can choose which one works for you. If you want to fire up Kerbal Engineer and watch the vertical, horizontal speeds, the altitude terrain, you can do that. If you want to fly it by the seat of your pants like I was doing, you can do that. Look at that nav ball, push that green X so that it's going straight down. It's pointing straight up. Make sure you hit it less than your impact resistance. Or you can go IVA and you can use that radar altitude, the radar altimeter and the vertical speed thingy to watch it. So, what else? Nav ball. Submitted denied. Yes, I meant to look at that. Let me look at that right quick. I think when I was doing some of that stuff, I could probably go like that and get a super high-res version of what's going on. That is a good thing to know. I've never actually thought about doing that. I really appreciate it. So, did I miss anything else in chat? By the way, submitted denied. Also, thank you for your message yesterday, dude. I replied to you. I haven't checked my replies yet, but I totally appreciate you sending me that message. That's freaking awesome. I will definitely catch up with you after the stream here. MegJeb also does that. Yep, TrainCom. MegDev also does that. Luis, we still got, look at this. We're still sitting on how much fuel here? We are sitting on 29.28. We could totally do a return with what we got. We could go to a couple different places. Dude, Earthworm Swim going to rock climb. Nice. A good combination of the computer skills and the physical fitness. That's freaking cool, dude. I hope I didn't miss you, so take it off. Thanks for hanging out. Take it off. Take off. See you later. I don't know what I meant to say there. Whatever. What did Haguma say? How do you know which side is the dorsal side? By default, if you don't rotate your pod, like DK said, well, wrong mouse. I've got two mice going. This would be the dorsal side because I didn't rotate that pod when I built the craft. However, it is possible to rotate that pod. The dorsal side from a control perspective, I think if you rotate it, doesn't it change the rotation of the thing? Maybe it is always that the door is there. I'd have to confirm that, but it may be that the door is there even if you rotate the pod, and that's what screws you up on the launch pad sometimes. I think DK, I may defer to you on that one and say that, yeah, it is always the door, because that may make sense. Just for ease of spotting, I always put a little battery with the green light on it. So as I'm flying and I'm a little bit further away from the craft, even if it's not exactly obvious which side has the door, that little green light sticks out like a sore thumb. It also helps you a lot when you're going through a night mode. If it's dark, your craft's not illuminated, you've got that little thing there,